going on, everybody? I hope you're all doing well, and I hope you can hear me. So if anyone does jump in the chat, let me know if you can actually hear me. It says no live chat, which is weird as shit. So stream setting. I'm doing an equipment check too, guys. So my apologies if things don't work out quite the way they're supposed to right now. No live chat yet. Start streaming to see all connected platforms and chats here. Well, that's weird. Why would there be no chat? I told it to have a chat. Huh. That's not good. Stream settings. Let's see. Huh. Oh, I have no idea if people can hear me, or for that matter, if, oh, there's somebody said something. Can you hear me? Watching from the People's Republic of Michigan. Thank you, Farmer. Hey, KP Heathen, welcome. Hey, Loretta. Okay, great, great. I'm trying this little bougie, hey, Tennessee Tactical, hello, hello, thank you. So I have this little bougie, this little foof. It's like the foof microphone. So in theory, I'm supposed to sound fancy now. But folks, so I think we've beaten this to death, but I meant to do this video yesterday, and I started a live stream and I scheduled it, and then I canceled because I had work calls come in and they were actually really important, so I had to bail. Hey, Celtic Grandma, hello, Coffee. But if FEMA is running out of money for North Carolina and Tennessee, I've got family members who are responders in Carolina telling me all sorts of horrendous crap is going on there. And FEMA's out of money, but they're building migrant facilities with FEMA money. That's absolutely, hey, Royal, horrendous. Hey, Copycat. That is an absolute betrayal of these people's oath. And this is the problem with, unfortunately, when you have too much administrative, too many appointees and not enough elected officials, you wind up with these idiots. I can't even describe, I just don't understand how the hell Hurricane Harvey wasn't as big. No, it was big size-wise. I don't know if it was a category 4. I think it was a 3. I may be wrong when it hit land. Hey, Copycat, what's going on? Hey, Teresa. But we had, you know, a major city, 5 million people in the Houston, Corpus Christi, all along the coast. Hey, Mrs. Metal. Hey, Vision. I've seen people saying FEMA is fine on their website. Oh, FEMA. Well, you know what's sad? The people on the ground have actually, when we rolled out for Harvey, I was with the FEMA people. The people on the ground work very hard. I could tell they were tired. They hadn't eaten right. It's not the people on the ground. It's this management chain and more importantly, the leadership, because if they're pulling funds from what FEMA should be doing and giving it to people who technically are not supposed to be here. It's not that I'm unsympathetic. I mean, we're all children of immigrants, right? In one way, shape, or form. But hey, Jules. Hey, Independent. But if they don't have funds, they can't do their job. There'll be insufficient people. And this just blows my mind. Harvey hit a major metropolitan area, and we had GARD, we had FEMA, we had DTMS, which is Disaster Tactical Medical Service, or DTMS, Disaster Tactical Medical Service, had all their stuff ready. They literally populated a tent hospital in Bush Airport in Houston in under 48 hours. I mean, it looked like a MASH unit. Like, you remember the old movie, but it was modern. As bad as that storm was, they were under 200 fatalities. when it was all said and done. And there were some, like there was a guardsman who had a heart attack. Actually, one of the state guardsmen, not in my unit, but in an adjacent unit, he dehydrated. And he was an older guy, and he should have shut himself down. His buddy should have caught it and said, hey, it's too hot. We got guys dropping out and getting sick. We need to stand down and rehydrate and cool. And he actually had a heart attack. He died. They got him to a hospital, but he had passed away, which was unfortunate. Hey, Billy. Hey, Watchman. Hey, Ghost. But it just blows my mind that this happened. And all the responders were in place. I mean, we had Chinooks in the air, drones in the air. You know, the cops, the local constable actually went to the National Guard and said, hey, we need Humvees with snorkels. And there were Humvees lined up outside the reserve unit. So when the cops drove up, they parked their cars at the National Guard base and took the Humvee out. And like the guardsmen were guarding the police cars, like everyone was like this. And then this was absolutely a disaster. I think there were a few things at play. One, FEMA's underfunded. And for that, I blame Washington. Because the FEMA I'm seeing on TV now and the FEMA that we saw during Harvey are totally different. But they didn't divert half their freaking funds to people who weren't supposed to be here. So that's one. Two, I honestly think that nobody was ready, and this is nobody's fault. They didn't understand the geology of their area. Like living in Houston, I know we're close to we're close to mean sea level, right? Maybe 30 feet. So you can get hit with surges, you can get flooding. We also know the ground really absorbs water, and the flooding doesn't stay unless we keep getting rain and rain. And it takes a boatload of rain. You know, you get a 5-inch, 10-inch rain in Houston, it'll cause some flooding in intersections and whatnot. It'll be gone in 48 hours. You get that same flooding out in West Texas where the ground is really hard. It's not very permeable, it has bad porosity. It's going to flood streets everywhere, and it's going to be a hot mess. But I know that. I know my area. I know the geology of my area. I know the geography, which are two separate things. I actually cover that in the book. I have a whole chapter about geology and geography. They're totally different things. And are we all dead? No, we're not dead, Joe. I'm actually pissed off, but it's at the government, so that shouldn't surprise anyone. People should know this. And more importantly, the leaders should have known. Like, oh, wow, this big hurricane's coming. If we get 10 inches of rain in the mountains of North Carolina, it's all going to go to, hey, Virginia, it's all going to go to the lowest ground or lowest area, which is usually the river or the valleys, and then it's going to flood and destroy everything. Like, this should have been known. I'm hearing that people had like 2 or 3 hours to evacuate, and a lot didn't because they've never seen that before. There were a lot of things that were done wrong here. It almost reminds me of Katrina. Remember, like they were like, oh yeah, go to the Superdome, and then the levees broke and the Superdome got cut off and the people just died there because they had no water or they overheated. And it's like, did you not think that could happen? But yeah, I mean, it just, it agitates me that, come by for dinner. Nice, Joe. So the planning, the leadership at the state should have figured this out. Why we defunded FEMA. There's so many things that went wrong here. Like, I'd never pictured October surprise was massive storm decimates the East Coast. Like, that wasn't on my list. You know, factories burning up, not on my list either, you know. So I guess if you had bingo card that says massive hurricane screws up the Southeast, you could mark that one on your bingo card. But I live in Tornado Alley. Pedo Joe gotta go. Hey, if we have something happen here, you're gonna like me. No, and the problem is, like, tornadoes, but you know your area, right? So you know there's a tornado, you're prone to tornadoes there. You know, hey PJ, hey Jason, hey Wolfgang, and Widow's Diary. You know your area, you know, oh, tornadoes happen. So when a storm occurs, you're like, okay, we need to watch the weather, we need to watch the alerts because tornadoes. You live on the coast by the Gulf of Mexico. It's like, okay, it's June 1st, hurricane season. It's like Christmas, but a demented one. Every year we get hurricanes. So why did they not? I guess I'm struggling with why they got caught so flat-footed. The people should have been out. People should have been given more notice. Maybe they just never had something like this happen. I don't know. But the fact that, you know, here we are a week later, and like 4 days into this disaster, Mayorkas goes and says, oh, FEMA may not have enough money for the people. Well, where the hell did the money go? They get billions of dollars. Where did it go? And hey, little lone prepper, hey, oops, and that blows my mind. That just absolutely agitates me. But there are lessons to be learned, right? You think about it. Do you know your geography and your geology? Do you know? Are you like Pedo Joe pointed out? I love that name, by the way. Do you know you're prone to tornadoes? You know you flood really fast if you get more than 3 inches of water. You know you get landslides. You know you get blizzards. Know your area. If you're new to your area, look back at the weather and ask the people who've been there for a while, hey, what's the weather like in the winter? What's the weather like in the summer? When is the rainy season? You know, I'm at 2,800 foot elevation in West Texas, and I have flood insurance because you think like there's no river within an hour of you, dude. Why? Because I know if we get a Pacific front comes in and drops a bunch of rain on us, it's going to be, you know, I get 10 inches of rain, it's going to flood the city out. And at the very least, I won't be able to go anywhere. My house is elevated from the road, which is good, but I can't go anywhere. So I have to prep accordingly. I also know you get hailstorms here. We had a hailstorm in March that tore the crap out of this part of Texas. Broke windshields and everything. My truck alone had 13 grand in damage, but I had the insurance to include hail damage, to include weather damage. Same with the house. I had hail and wind. So I was fully covered. It was a pain in the ass getting everything going, but I had it. Some of the biggest lithium. Yeah, and the lithium thing, I need to dig into that more because I've heard that a lot. Tuck, absolutely. Know the geologic, hydrologic threats. We often, as the preparedness community, we often focus on things like crime, which is important, or big disasters, earthquakes, hurricanes, but we don't think of the flooding. We don't think of those oddball things that can happen. Most people couldn't tell you, unless they live there for a while, what the ground where they live is like. And what was that? The Watchman, look at what the White House press secretary is saying yesterday. We're COVID inflation, best economy ever. Oh, no, the only reason they added jobs is because the economy cratered during COVID. Okay, if you compare, yeah, I know where you're going with that though. Yeah, it's like you compared pre-COVID to what it is now. It's not great. A storm was manipulated. It was not natural. Man, you know, 5 years ago, I'd have been like, no, those storms happen, and I've seen them happen. But this one was really weird. Another one of those things I really need to sneak into because, yeah, cloud seeding is a real thing. And I probably need to do like a whole video just on that, dig into that some more. But point being, regardless of where you are or how the storm formed, you definitely educate yourself and double check your insurance if you have home insurance and be like, do I cover flooding? Do I cover hailstorms? Do I cover tornadoes? For instance, my home insurance very clearly states it does not cover thermonuclear detonations. which is really interesting because I actually read through it after the hailstorm. I knew I was covered for hail. I'm like, oh, what else am I covered for? Or acts of terrorism. And that's in the same paragraph. And I was like, so is there atomic bomb insurance? Like, and now I'm curious. Like, I want to email my insurance guy and be like, so this says you don't cover thermonuclear or atomic detonations. Is there nuke insurance? Yeah, can I write off a bomb shelter? Like, now I have a bunch of questions, right? But I'm going to be a pest to the guy who'll be like, you're being a shit, stop it. The whole economy is wiped out. People are going to keep it going there. Yeah, everything's wiped out there, absolutely. Yeah, well, Royal Linus is interesting because my grandma used to tell my dad, who then told me that, you know, God said he'd never use a flood to destroy the earth again. So the next time he does it, it would be man-made and it would be with fire. So I'm wondering if one day we're going to just burn ourselves out. I don't know. Or we'll flood ourselves out. Who knows? But hold on. Regardless of what you say, rehab is personal. They are the fun police. Yeah. And it is. And see, Joe, stuff like that. People always think SHTF is like North Carolina is a great example. Well, you can have a personal SHTF, right? You could lose someone you love. You could have a car accident and be out of a, or get laid off, be out of a job. That is also people on their knees. They can't control them. So it makes you wonder, actually, remember that movie Geostorm, where the satellites went haywire and it turns out like the vice president was in a conspiracy? Kind of makes you wonder if that was a little bit of predictive programming there. I mean, that's purely a conspiracy on my part, but a fun movie. I love the movie, but still, it makes you wonder, right? But there's a lot of lessons to be learned. Do you have a plan to evacuate if you have to run? Is your area prone to fires? Is it prone to flooding? If you get a bunch of rain like that, will it flood? It may have been years since that last happened, but you know, if you can question 90 pain, it actually almost killed. Oh, geez, Joe, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, that was stupid of them. I can't understand some of the medical decisions the doctors made. Hey, Yardbirds. But hey, folks, look, there's a lot you can learn. What I would do, well, if you're in that area, obviously you're dealing with it firsthand. The rest of us, pay attention to what's going on and ask yourself, if that happened in my area or something similar, am I prepared for that? Do I have my documents in order? Do I have a plan if I need to leave? Do I have a plan if someone else needs to run away from something and come here? Do I have those accommodations? So, you know, this is a good opportunity for all of us to kind of see what's going on and learn in real time. And again, my last rollout with the Guard here in Texas was Harvey, and it was very well run. It was a little chaotic, you know, because it was a hot mess, but we had assets, we had people out, we you know, we were doing the right things, and everyone was plugged in. Like I said, the Guard, local police, fire departments, we had all sorts of assets. But Governor Abbott also declared a state of emergency 4 days before it hit. So he just moved everybody in. We had plenty of time to stage people. Even the guardsmen in the affected area, we hunkered down and they got the other guys in. And then we came to assist since we had local knowledge, but it worked out really well. They should have done this here. I don't know if they did. But yeah, it's bad. It's what I'm seeing is ugly. Angry Prepper's been putting up, hey, Jim, hey, Holly, been putting up videos, and it's pretty ugly. So, folks, this is a great time to take a minute and kind of evaluate, okay, what would I do if this happened? Or what would I do if this happened to someone I love and they had to come to me? Do you have the extra room? Do you have the space to do what needs to be done? These are all important questions. But I'm still, the fact that, if Homeland said, hey, the roads are washed out, we're having trouble staging equipment, we have the people, we're going to make this happen, but, we're screwed up because of the roads, the railroads destroyed, the bridges. I get that. When he goes out and says, oh, we're sending this big humanitarian aid package to Palestine, but by the way, and then a day later says we don't have money for hurricane victims. I'm sorry, to hell with that guy. That is a betrayal of his job. And everyone should be pissed. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, what. They're supposed to be doing a job, and their first priority should be the people here in this country, specifically the ones in duress, like in North Carolina and Tennessee and Florida. Right, Tuck. He had his assets already ready. And I bet you anything, I know there was a convoy from Texas was staged in Louisiana waiting for the storm to go by so they could come in and help with the power lines in Florida. There was another convoy headed for North Carolina, but it was already everything was destroyed. I don't know how far they got. They probably did not get where they wanted to stage because of the damage. So yeah, it's bad stuff, and it pisses me off. It should piss everyone off. So folks, wait, what happened, Holly? I'm losing the chat here. Sorry, something broke up here. But in any case, folks, take some time, do some homework this weekend. Study your local area. Do you have floodplain maps? You can pull them up you should be able to get them online. If you don't, you got a friend with a drone license who can go up and do a really high altitude picture of your area. Do you know different ways in and out of your area? Not just like your subdivision. What if the subdivision gets flooded in, but you gotta leave? Is there a dirt road? Is there an access? Is there an easement you can use to get in and out in the event the main entrance to your area is destroyed? Do a little bit of homework on your area and understand how the land is laid out. Now, some of you have been living there for years, probably. I'd still do it. Things change over time. The river may have moved. The bridge may not be in great condition. The roads may be damaged or need repair. Look at those roads, because if you have a road that's been there for 20 years, but it's full of potholes, that's not going to hold up in a flood. So if you can't go that way, where else can you go? Take that time to kind of understand how you can, how would I say, how you can better navigate the area you're in. And while you're at it, you may as well do it if you have children, grandchildren, family, friends, brothers, sisters. Understand their area. So if I see, like, my brother lives on the Louisiana Gulf Coast, I live there too, so I know it floods, hurricanes, etc. So I already know I watch hurricanes, and if they're headed toward him, I'm already in touch with him. Hey, what's it looking like? Did you prep? You got your boards up? What are you doing? How and he and I are in touch. And then we'll set up a time and say, okay, every day at 11 a.m., 11 p.m., I'm going to shoot you a text and check in, right? He lives in a neighborhood. He's a retired Navy guy. That there are 5 or 6 other veterans. They're all friends. So I know he has this mini mag going that they can help each other. But if he says, hey, it's going to be really ugly, I got to kick the kids out. My neighbor's dogs are fighting with the other neighbor's dogs through the fence, and mine are crying because they want to come out and talk shit. Which means I will not let them out because they're just going to rile everyone up. But I'll tell him, hey, if it gets really ugly and you got to send your daughter here, right? If she has to fly out, she has to drive out, where do we meet? We make those plans in advance because, I can say, okay, I'll meet you in Houston. It's so many hours for me, so many hours for him. Try and pick a place somewhere in between that should not be affected, where we can transfer pets, kids, whatever, and then I can turn around and bring them home. So I'm in TSC, and they have folding fire pit. Okay, sorry, farmer, I can't see that. I lost my glasses again. They're somewhere in the house. I didn't lose them. I just don't know where they are. So, but in any case, folks, take some time, do some homework, get to know your area. This is a good example of why we should be familiar with our geography, our geology. And if you have any problem finding good maps, topographical maps, or geophysical type data, shoot me an email. Because of the business I'm in, I deal with engineers, geologists, geophysicists, not astronomers, meteorologists, all sorts of technical people who have access to databases. I can probably find something that at least could point you in the right direction. But I'm going to leave you with that, folks. You guys be careful out there. Do some homework this week and get some rest. For those of you in the affected area, if you have updates, you can post them below this video. You can post them on my community page. If you have a community page, you have a channel that's active, you want to tag me on it, shoot me an email, let me know you tagged me, because I don't always get the notifications, and I'll go and share your update. And if you're trying to get a hold of somebody in a certain area, feel free to do that as well. We've got a bunch of people in the chat. I mean, it's 48 people right now. That's a hell of a lot of eyes and ears that we can share information. But you guys be safe, get some rest. Check on top of my head. Oh, I don't know. But you guys be careful, be safe. I thought I had a bug on my head. And, you know, let's try to help each other as best we can from a distance, right? I mean, we have this little mags on each of these channels. Let's take advantage of it. So you guys be safe, be careful. And remember, shoot me an email if you tag me, because YouTube will post comments for me for some reason 2 days, 3 days later, which is retarded. But when you tag me, like in a post, I don't see it unless I go looking for it. So, or shoot me an email, and then I can make an announcement like, hey, does anyone have an update for this town? I'll be happy to do that as well. You guys be careful, be safe. God bless. I'll see you all later. Bye.